Where my girls at? Where my girls at? Independent, free spirit. Ooh, it's something serious. Where my girls at? We link up in the cool. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right.
Hey, you guys, it's Gloria.
Hey.
We're so glad to see you guys here for the weekend. That's funny. For the nurses show. We got guests coming on. I'm listening.
Turn it up. Yeah, turn it up.
Yes. I got listening and welcome the guest on the Facebook show.
Well, good afternoon in California. Good evening in Detroit, in North Carolina, and in Maryland. This is your host, your girl, Caterina Harris Earl. I'm coming to you from California today, and y'all can hear me? Y'all can hear me. You got me? I'm coming to you from California today, and woo, this has been a day already. It has been a day already. So much is happening. It's happening so fast. I'm so grateful. I'm grateful that the temperature cooled down a little bit. Back to my windows being open. And so much to pray for today, going for some big goals, making big things happen. And we are here today on We Got Issues. We are so
for today, going for some big goals.
We are so excited to honor nurses today. I mean, always we should honor nurses, but right about now, all of us are so grateful for what they have done. I mean, we are so amazingly grateful. So we want to hear from you. Today, we're going to be talking to nurses. We're going to be talking about nurses. We're going to be talking about how much we appreciate them. And I bet that there are people in our audience that want to call in, contribute to the conversation. You may be a nurse. You might have had a loved one who you're so grateful for how the nurse in their life took care of them. We want you to call in and love on nurses today with us at 313-778-7600. Well, a lot is happening, and I'm going to go to my girl, Sabrina Goodwin Monday in Chapel Hill, looking amazing with those hot pink lips today, Sabrina. You can work some black and white and some hot pink lips. Rio in the background. So Sabrina, talk to us.
Oh my goodness. I had to put on a color to pop because I'm sad. I am so sad today. But you know what? We learn to take the wins and the losses. I'm going to tell my girlfriends, y'all must not have prayed hard enough. Didn't I tell y'all to pray? Didn't I tell y'all to pray? Did y'all pray? Okay, well, I got to give me some more praying girlfriends because guess what, y'all? This is the deal. Jordan won 3 matches. 3 tough matches, people all over the world. We get to the 4th match, the 4th and final match to go to Tokyo. He loses by 1 point, 3-2. What a heartbreaker. Heartbreaking. 3-2, final seconds, no Tokyo for Jordan. So we lose, we win, got to dress for them all. It's tough. Just talked to Kenny a little bit ago. It's late at night over there. He said, it's heartbreaking. I don't know what to say to him. He doesn't really know what to say to me, but it's part of it. It's just part of this game that we choose to play. And so really, you guys, thank you for your support. Thank you for your prayers. It just wasn't meant to be. So we go on and keep on keeping on. So from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, this is Sabrina Goodwin Monday, putting on a happy face because I ain't happy. But you know what? It's part of what we do. Crisette, how are you? Good today.
Hey Bree, hey Bree, hey girlfriends, hey everybody. Super excited to be here. Sabrina, we feel your pain. We feel your pain. I mean, I know you were up all night. I mean, we were texting Sabrina. She been up all night because of course of the time change, 3 a.m. She's totally up. She's telling us the final match is at 12:30 and I'm out. I'm like, okay, come on, Lord, let them win, let them win. We were so praying for Jordan to win and we were just waiting for her to give us that text, that celebration text that he had won, and it was not the text that we were hoping to get. But you know, you're absolutely right. In that game that we play, you know, you win some, you lose some, you dust yourself off and you get back up. It stings, it hurts for a while, but you know, I know that Kenny, he's been there, he's coached many champions, and so he knows the words to say. He knows the words to say, and so you know, we're just praying for Kenny to come back safe and sound, and praying for Jordan. And you know what? This too shall pass. He'll have another opportunity, and I'm sure in every defeat you learn some lessons. And so you know, it doesn't feel good when it happens, but you know what? It happens to the best of us. And so I'm excited to be here with our guests. Can't wait to talk to them. And I just want to give a shout out to all of the nurses, nurses that have just been sacrificing, all of the nurses for just hanging in there, all that you do. You don't get the appreciation that you need. Literally, nurses literally should become a national holiday. I believe it should be a national holiday. Making it through COVID, you guys deserve a national holiday. So I'm excited about this topic, and I'm gonna throw it to my home girl, Gloria. What's up, Gloria? Mayfield.
Yes. I'm excited to be here with We Got Issues. I'm so excited to be here with You Got Issues. You know, as we celebrate We Got Issues, as we celebrate girlfriends, my hat off to Sabrina, because you've had to be one of those supportive wives. You know, we watch that activity when you support your man through the best times and through the hard times, because it's a family loss. I know you guys ride and die together for real. So I know it's a big deal. Watching social media, watching him on Twitter, watching the wrestling on Twitter. You know, when I went down to that game, I started following all these wrestling people. I didn't even know who they were, but they wrestling people. I'm like, what are they talking about? What are they talking about? So now it turned out to be good to know what they were talking about. And so it was like a lot of people praying for Jordan and Kennedy and Kenny, and a lot of people disappointed as well. So that was a big deal. But I agree, Crisette. It should be a national dang on holiday. We'll get into it later. My mom was a nurse for many years. And being in COVID, the first part of COVID, I was with my niece as she became a nurse under Johns Hopkins School of Nursing. And I mean, when I tell you she worked hard to become a nurse. So I'm excited for this topic. I'm excited to celebrate women who many times will do not what we don't want to do, what we cannot do. I'm the most squeamish person of them all. Like, I am squeamish. So when I see a nurse, I literally bow down in so many ways. So we're going to find out some good stuff. Caterina, what an excellent topic. I'm going to throw it back to you. I can't wait.
Yes. I mean, oh, my heart sank when I got the text, Sabrina. And yet we are talking about nurses today. And we just have to say, we wouldn't even be able to talk about Olympics in Tokyo if it wasn't for nurses. We wouldn't even be able to talk about it. It's just, we're so grateful. So I want to tell you a little bit before I bring our guests in. The history of National Nurses Week. The World Health Organization designated 2020 as the International Year of the Nurse and the Midwife, in honor of the 200th anniversary of Florence Nightingale's birth. National Nurses Week begins each year on May 6th, today, and runs through May 12th. Now more than ever, nurses are being recognized as heroes as they fight alongside their fellow clinicians on the front lines of COVID-19. The commitment nurses make to protect, promote, improve healthcare for all is well recognized, as in their public service in a wide range of roles and work settings. We celebrate nurses and the vital role they play in healthcare, not just during COVID-19, but every day, and particularly during this Nurses Week we celebrate. And so we are going to bring in two of our guests. I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. You can go ahead and bring them in. Tracy, Everett, and Kim Forbes from Chi-Town, Chicago. They are here. Yes. And when I tell you they work together, They know each other, and so grateful, so grateful. Tracy Everett, Bachelor's of Science in Nursing, an RN. She has an SAN degree, sexual, did I say it correctly? Sexual assault nursing examiner. Did I say that? Sexual assault nursing examiner. She went to Olive Harvey, and she was the first person in Cook County to get the vaccination. We're going to talk about that.
Yes,
she works at John Stroger Hospital, which is a public hospital on the west side of Chicago, and became a nurse in 2006. So audience, give it up in the chat. Give it up if you're driving for Tracy Everett. Woo, woo, woo. And we are going to meet Kim Forbes. Kim Forbes also is a soror. She is has a bachelor in nursing, has been a nurse for 25 years. She went to the Tuskegee School of Nursing and has worked in the emergency room, y'all, for 24 years. And so coming to the stage, we have Tracy and Kim. Literally, our hat is off to you. And so I just want to ask you, both of you, Tracy and Kim, making this career decision to be a nurse. Tracy, what led you to choose to be a nurse, and what do you love most about working in the nursing profession?
The thing that led me to choose the profession of nursing was because of my love to care for other people and to help other people. Like ever since I was younger, I've always had this dream of, I want to help people. And initially, my way of helping, my career goal was to be an attorney. But then I started working in the medical field as a clerk, and then I was around nursing. And then my godmother, she was a nurse, so I learned from her. And then I was just like, you know what? I want to be a nurse. I want to help people. And for me, in this profession, the most rewarding thing for me is that when you see somebody come in at their worst or even at the end of life, and then when you see them leave that hospital, that's the enjoyment for me.
Wow. 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 And how about you, Kim? Talk about your decision to become a nurse.
Oh, absolutely. Let me first correct you and say,
muted on the radio. Might be muted on the radio. Check your phone.
Okay. Better? Okay.
Perfect.
Let me first say, I am not a member of your sorority. However, I was very, very supportive of Tracy. And she is my super great friend. Lovely sorority, but I'm not, just to be clear, I'm not a member of the sorority. But great group of lovely women. I'd have to say, I've always wanted to be a nurse from third grade. It's the strangest thing. I just knew, in elementary school, they asked you, what do you want to be? I want to be a nurse. It was always to take care of people. It just kind of came natural. It was very organic for me. And I've just found my niche in being a nurse. I mean, I love taking care of people. Sometimes it's not the easiest job to do, but if I get at least one thank you, it's not in vain. So I've always loved taking care of people and just being that support, even if it's just for someone to listen, for me to listen to someone so they can air their differences, or just to open up their heart.
Mm-hmm.
That's always come organically for me.
Unbelievable. Well, I want to ask you one other question and bring the girlfriends in. It was, for me, it was late February, early March. I would love to know when it was for you guys, when our lives turned upside down. And we found out. I was in Chicago, not that far from the hospital, when I first understood what COVID-19 might have been. And so I just want you to talk about, what was it like for you, Kim, being in the emergency room, working in the emergency room? What was it like in the beginning?
In the beginning, it was very scary. And honestly, it was a fear of the unknown, because we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what this was, how it was transmitted, or even how to work on battling what this virus was. It was a completely unknown virus. And but what we did as a team is that we took our time to make provisions. We had patients that were coming in with various symptoms, and they seemed to be regular symptoms regular meaning in terms of what we're used to. For example, if someone had come in with difficulty breathing, someone come in with chest pain, we can handle that. We know how to take care of a patient that has asthma, difficulty breathing, or anything like that. But what the twist was, we weren't totally sure how this virus was transmitted. We made all type of provisions, and we had to completely rearrange our emergency department. It's extremely scary because we didn't know how can you carry it? Is it on your clothes? Is it in your hair? We had no clue. So it was a high level of fear for us because, of course, we didn't want to contract it and then bring it home to our family.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Wow. And for you, Tracy, what was it like in the beginning for you?
For me as well, in the beginning, it was very scary because, like Kim said, I'm just going to piggyback off of what she said. We didn't know anything about this virus. We didn't know how you contract it. We didn't even know how to really treat it, the treatment. We didn't know anything about it. So it was very scary because it was unknown. And it was even more scary because we didn't want to contract it ourselves or either take it home to our loved ones. So it was very stressful. And like at the time, like when the world was shutting down, we were still, getting up, coming to work every day, trying to do whatever we can to help people. So it was very stressful. And not to mention like the stress on your family.
To piggyback what Tracy just said, to piggyback what Tracy just said, remember, Tracy, every other day there was a new symptom. It's like, wait a minute, we just had someone yesterday with that. So you mean to tell me that could be COVID too? It's crazy. And even today, we're still coming up with new. You can have difficulty breathing now. You can have blood clots. You can, it's so many different symptoms that were coming. The wheels were just turning in fear.
I want to bring the girlfriends in. We have about 4 minutes before the break. This is it's mind blowing to us to think about the courage you had, to think about the work ethic. Literally, when we were running home, you were running to work.
Right.
And so just unbelievable. Gloria, I want to bring you into the conversation, a question.
Yeah, I really do. I can't wait to after the break because I love talking to nurses because they're so far from my reality. If somebody bleeds, I'm running in the other direction for real. But Tracy, can you give us a description of the degree of sexual assault preparation? What is that degree in? What does that do?
To get the certification to be a sexual assault nurse? The preparation
when you say sexual assault nurse, what does that cover?
Okay. So what that covers is that when a patient presents to the hospital complaining or saying that they were sexually assaulted, then before it used to be the physicians would actually do the sexual assault kit. That means they would collect the evidence. They would go through all the paperwork. They would talk to the patient. So now, and in fact, by 2022, every emergency room has to have a sexual assault nurse examiner available for the patient when they come in. It's called the Crisette law, and that's going to go into effect as of 2022. So what you do is, like for us in Illinois, we go through a training through the Attorney General's office where it consists of the didactic training where you go in and you're taught how to collect the evidence and the procedures for collecting the evidence in the sexual assault kit. And then once you finish that, then you have to do your clinical hours. So you have to have so many clinical hours to like times where you spend where you're actually doing the sexual assault or collecting the evidence kits for yourself. And then once you finish that, at the end, you go get your certification.
Mm-hmm. You know what I appreciate about what you're telling us is so many times, if you're like me, you watch CSI on all TV and all this kind of stuff, but you sometimes do not relate how the things that we fight for in law end up in the nurse's hands, in the procedures that are changed, in the things that women can do to help other women versus men and doctors help, and elaborating with the education you have. I find it really fascinating to find out the things that we fight for on a regular basis end up in something where you get an additional a degree for, to make sure that everything meets the qualifications and the certifications in the law. So I appreciate that. I really appreciate that piece of information.
Yes, so good. We are going to go to a break. We have Heidi, who's a caller. I definitely want to hear, Tracy, you talk a little bit more about that, and wondering if you've seen an increase since COVID. We are appreciating nurses today. We want to encourage you to call in and love on a nurse in your life. 313-778-7600. Stay on hold, Heidi. We're coming to you right after the break.
Hey, you guys, can you hear me all right on Facebook? I'm so excited to be with you. Hold on, I'm going to mute myself there. You guys, I'm so excited for the nurses. I loved what Caterina said at the very end. She said, you guys have to think about a nurse that you want to appreciate. And if you call in at 313-778-7600, it would make such a difference, because I think that everyone wants to hear somebody that's so appreciative. My niece, who's now a nurse here in the Baltimore area, she's brand new at a brand new segment at Johns Hopkins University, and she's with the neonatal heart for children. I mean, it's just like, wow. I was like, and she just like loves it. Yay, Jennifer, I know she's a nurse. I know we have some nurses that are here. So we want to hear, why did you decide to go into nursing? What did you love about nursing? What were some of the sacrifices that you made from nursing? You know, when my mother was leaving nursing and moving into the teaching profession because she has 4 small children and she thought her hours would be better, it was such a hard move for her because she loved nursing. And she was like always a nurse. It's like always a nurse, always a doctor. The people that people call when someone doesn't feel good, you want to ask them what is their perception. So I cannot wait to hear from you guys, because nurses, and this whole week of celebrating nurses, I don't know what your profession is, but everybody has a person that they can truly appreciate as a nurse. Make them feel extra good. Send them some extra love. Send them some extra flowers. Send them some extra gifts. Can you guys even imagine going through something like COVID without the kindness of the nurses? Sometimes it's the smile. I remember when I was delivering my children in 13 months apart, and if it wasn't for the nurse that really made me feel so good, I don't think I could have made it through, because they calmed me and made me feel so good. And so when we think about the nurses, let's see, Mardise, did I say that right? Mardise says she has a lot of nurses in her family. So it's always very exciting to hear the stories of the nurses. Y'all listen to me. I'll be listening like this. And I really hope that you guys continue to give us ideas on subjects as we go.
We are back. We are back. You got the Force of Friendship with Caterina, Crisette, Sabrina, and Gloria. And today we are appreciating nurses. Let's make it a practice and appreciate nurses all year long, but today is the official day in America that we appreciate nurses. So we're so grateful to have Tracy and Kim here. Both work on the west side of Chicago in a public hospital and are making a huge difference all the time, and especially in this season. You guys, we have approximately 4 million registered nurses in the United States, and nursing is our country's largest healthcare profession. The average age of an RN is 48 to 50. Nearly half of all nurses are over the age of 50. There's a growing number of need, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. Hopefully we will inspire those that have dreams of going into this profession to move in. 73% of nurses are white, 7.8% are African American, 5.2% Asian, 10% Hispanic. As we've seen, even in George Floyd, we talked about the importance of having African Americans on the jury. Well, we can see a shortage in nurses, because there's nothing like one of my loved ones and walking in and seeing someone that looks like you, who is caring for someone who might look like one of their relatives. It makes a difference. And so we just want to thank you guys so much for the work you do. We're loving on you. We're appreciating you. I'm passing it to my girl, Crisette. And then we're going to go, actually, Crisette, we have Tori who's on the line. So I'm going to go to Tori first, and then I'll come back to you. So Tori, thank you for calling us on We Got Issues, WFDF 910 AM, the Superstation. Can you hear me? All right. Yes, Tori.
Yes, Tori, are you there? No. Hi, no. My name is Toby, Toby. Toby.
Hey,
You know, between one person to the next person, tell the next person. This is Toby, and Tracy and Kim know Toby. So, Toby, thank you for calling in. Well, you said to show some love, and those are two of my favorite nurses. Excellent. How do you know Tracy and Kim? Our Kim and I's daughter went to grammar school together, so there's a 15-plus year relationship there. And I met Tracy through Kim. So Kim is our resident physician, nurse, go-to person at 9 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock at night. She's the one that keeps our family bonded together and healthy. So I wanted to show her and Tracy some love today. Wow, well, we so appreciate you. Everybody needs to have
a nurse in their life that they can call on, that they can love on. And so we just appreciate you. So you're calling in from Chicago.
Yes, I am.
Well, great. We thank you so much for calling in on Nurses Day. I hope that you will continue to listen to us on We Got Issues. We're here every day from 6 to 7 Eastern, 5 to 6 Central Time, and we'd love to hear from you again. Thanks so much, Toby, for calling in.
All right. Thank you. You ladies have a good evening.
Awesome. So, Crisette, I'm going to pass it to you. I'm passing it to you. What question, comment? I know we love the nurses in our life.
Yes. And again, we're so excited, Tracy and Kim, to have you on the show. Thank you so much. And you know, I absolutely love nurses. There are so many nurses at my church. My sister-in-law, got to give her a shout out. Penny is a nurse, and just so thankful and grateful to what you guys do for all of us, whether you've been in the hospital or not. I'm thankful that Kim and Tracy is in Chicago taking care of the people, because you taking care of one person literally can translate to a ton of other people. So we appreciate that. So my question to both you, Tracy, you and Kim, is in this environment now where, you know, everybody, every time you turn on the news, they're talking about we need to have the vaccine. While we know the greatest percentage of individuals that have been vaccinated is senior citizens. And right now, you know, it's a big challenge with getting the younger, the millennials, the younger, you know, 20, 30 somethings to, you know, step up, lift up their sleeve and get the shot. So let me ask you, were you hesitant at all? What were your colleagues saying? And if you were talking to individuals that were still hesitant, what would you say to them to try to sway them or to encourage them to think about getting vaccinated?
Tracy, you want to take it? Oh, Kim.
I'll start.
Oh, Kim, you were the first.
Start.
Let's see. Who was the first?
I'll start.
Tracy was the first. Both of you can go. So go ahead, Kim.
Okay. So honestly, Crisette, in the middle of working with COVID, working with the COVID patients, I really had initially, I'll be honest, I was thinking, nah, I'm okay. You know, and being an alum of Tuskegee University, you know, it was so many like, oh no, Tuskegee experiment. And I had to stop and think about, no, the difference is that the men that were forced into that study, they did not have a choice. They didn't know that they were being experimented on. And I mean, so I looked at a lot of things because I was hearing noise from one ear, hearing noise from the other ear, and I had to stop, eliminate all the background sound and just think about, okay, what could we have so many viruses that have been put in place to help us to stay as healthy as we can be. And then I got COVID. I contracted COVID around Thanksgiving. It was a complete shock to me. For the entire year, I think, Tracy, we went into with our PPE and everything started in February, right? January, February. So around November, I felt that I had a common cold. Let me just take the test. Let's see. I honestly did not believe, because I didn't have any of those drastic symptoms that we hear about. You have difficulty breathing and chest pain and no, you can't smell. I had none of that. I thought I had a common cold. I tested positive for it. The fear, there was a whole there was an entirely different level of fear that had then come over me. And honestly, I didn't know where I contracted it from. I'm not sure if I got it from work. I may have gotten it while I was out at the grocery store. I don't know. Contracting COVID completely eliminated that fear for me. Because I did not, and I've seen patients come in. Some are extremely, extremely ill. Some are not. So you have many different degrees of illness as well. When people are diagnosed, when we have people come in contact with people who are diagnosed with COVID. What I did, I knew how to take care of myself. And so when the vaccine came out and they offered it to us, I was definitely ready to get the vaccine. My fear had been completely knocked down at 50%. I'd already contracted the virus. So how much harm could the virus do the vaccine, do for me? Mm-hmm. I also thought about when I contracted the virus, my body started building antibodies. My thought process then was, let me go on and get the vaccine to continue building those antibodies. So yes, initially I was fearful. I did not want it, but contracting the disease put me in a whole different mind space.
That is so good. I'm going to bring you in to this conversation, Tracy, in just a moment. We have 4 callers. Heidi dropped and she is back. So we're going to go to Heidi, then Denise and Penny and Cindy. Y'all hang on. We want to hear from you on We Got Issues. So Heidi, are you there?
Heidi, are you there?
Hello.
Thank you for calling. Yes, thank you for calling in. We want to hear from you. Yes, I just want to give a shout out to Tracy and Kim, my girls from John H. Georgia Crisette Hospital. Thank you. I used to work with them in the emergency room, but I'm retired now. They are wonderful, beautiful, hard-working nurses. I just want to give a shout out to them for Nurses Week. Shout out, thank you so much. Yes, how many years were you in nursing, Heidi? I've been a nurse since I was 19 years old. Wow. The stories. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you. And as we said, our hat is off to you. We appreciate you. You deserve to be retired. Absolutely. Thank you, Heidi. I'm going to go to Denise. Y'all got the fan club. Tracy and Kim got the fan club. So Denise, are you there? Denise, are you there? All right, Kevin, we might be going to Penny. Hello, we got. Hello, is this Penny? This is Penny. Awesome. Thanks for calling. We Got Issues, Penny. How are you?
I am good. Just want to give a shout out to your guest, our fellow nurse, Tracy and Cameron, especially for the sexual assault nurse. That is, I'm sure, a very high stress job, and we all have been high stress in the past year or so. But special shout out to her, because I think one of the things that she probably sees a lot that we don't give a lot of attention to is that sexual and that human trafficking. Which in Detroit is a very highly populated area. It does not get the attention that it needs. So shout out to her for being here and being that quality and operating their calling. And a shout out to all of my high-identified nurses and sorority sisters and fratters, and to some of my mentors here that keep us going. So, it's been a tough year, but it's been a learning experience, and I'm grateful that I survived it.
Awesome. We thank you for your input and for your service, Penny.
Thank you.
Just really, really appreciate you, and thank you for calling in. I'm going to go to one more caller, Tracy. And was there something else you were going to ask, Penny?
I was going to say,
okay, go ahead.
Yeah. When I tell you, we are so proud of Penny. I mean, she is just so amazing. My sister-in-law, Farouk, got cancer, and it was during that time that she decided that she wanted to be a nurse, so she could be there for her sister. So she totally went back to school to become a nurse, and now she is the caregiver of my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law stays with her, so we were just so proud of Penny. So Penny, happy Nurses Week, and I love you, and you just an amazing nurse. So thank you for calling. Yeah, thank you. Love you too.
Thank you. Thank you. I bet we all have important nurses in our lives. My grandmother was a nurse and just made a huge, huge difference. So thank you, Penny. I'm going to go to 2 more quick callers. And Tracy, I want to bring you back in to answer the vaccine question and give us anything else that you could add on the sexual assault. Has that increased during this time? So Cindy, are you there, Cindy?
Yes, I am.
Hello. Thanks for calling. We Got Issues. Please share.
I want to give a shout out to my 2 special super baby nurses, Tracy, who's my daughter, and Kim, who's like my daughter.
Happy Mother's Day to you. Happy Mother's Day.
We were the baby students, and I'm just so proud of them both. And things that they've done, it just fills my heart with joy. It makes me want to cry.
I can imagine.
Taking care of us, risking their own lives, taking care of their patients, and then on top of that, taking care of their families and making sure that we were all taken care of and vaccinated. So I love you both. Happy Mother's Day to you both.
Miss Cindy, before you go, can you just share, because as we appreciate nurses, what was it like for you as a mom? I know there was extra time on your knees just as your daughter was walking through COVID.
You know, every day I was so afraid for, the patients. I know what she signed up to do, but I was so afraid that she was going to get it. And I didn't know until later on that, she was always so great to me. Oh, Mom, don't worry, I'll be all right. Everything will be okay. But deep down, she was afraid. And somebody knew that Tracy said, this is some stuff she's never seen before, and it's scaring her. But she never let on to me that she was afraid, because that would have made it even more devastating for me. So for that, we've all been truly blessed, and I just love them both, and I thank God for them.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And so grateful that this Mother's Day would be so sweet, and that the vaccine has allowed us to be able to get to this point of being able to see our families. So thank you for calling in, Miss Cindy. Happy Mother's Day. And one more caller, we're going to go to Denise, and then I'm going to bring it back to Tracy and bring in my girl Sabrina. Denise, are you there?
I'm here. Good evening, ladies.
Great evening. Thanks for hanging.
And thank all of the nurses for all of the work that they continue to do to save lives, especially during the COVID. And I want to give a shout out to Sally Lamb. She's retired. She's a nurse that I was supposed to do there when people have gotten sick as much as have a heart attack during service. And another good friend, Crisette, who is a nurse and has 2 clinics in low-income neighborhoods. So shout out to all the nurses. Thank you so much for all that you do.
Wow, thank you for calling back in and hanging with us on hold there. Such a great tribute, and we appreciate so many but this is life.
Literally, you are making such a difference. And so, Tracy, the first person in Cook County in the system to get the vaccine, how was that decision for you? And have you seen an increase in sexual assault victims during this time?
Okay. Now, I'll be honest. Initially, when they started talking about a COVID vaccine, I was a little on the fence about it. I was like, a vaccine this fast? Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I want to take it. But then as I followed the science, as they were developing the vaccine, and also I worked on a COVID study with one of our infectious disease doctors at the hospital. Me and Kim, actually, we worked on the study together. And then I started following the science about the vaccination and like things that what the vaccination actually did. And then, you know, I just made the decision like, yeah, when they come out with it, I want to take it.
Mm-hmm.
And because I figured that the benefits of the vaccination, they outweigh the risk. Mm-hmm. So that's what made me take it. And as far as an increase in sexual assaults, actually during COVID, we saw a decrease in everything. It was a decrease in patients who actually presented to the hospital for anything. So during that time, we didn't see an increase in the sexual assaults. It's just like now, since COVID had kind of, because like at first in the beginning, you know, we had a heavy surge of COVID, then it kind of eased up a little bit. Then we started getting more patients. So as, you know, like now we're starting to see more patients come in for the sexual assault. But during the COVID, we didn't see anything. We like people were suffering at home, like really sick patients, patients with terminal illnesses, patients with heart conditions. They just weren't coming into the hospital.
Wow, that puts a whole other twist, because we think back to our other show where we were talking about an increase in domestic violence. And then you think about, again, how many people were suffering at home that were not able, willing to go to the hospital. That's like, wow. Right. Wow.
Huge increase. And honestly, I'm glad you mentioned that, Tracy. There's something that we talked about as well. And we were concerned about it just in general with the general public. The quarantine has increased domestic violence, child abuse, right. Like the young lady said in Detroit, the sex trafficking, because think about it, a lot of children go to school and they can at least get away from their abuser. During the quarantine, you're stuck. Right. And we were concerned about those kids. We had a great decrease in amount of pediatric patients that came through the emergency department. And strangely enough, we're starting now to get a pickup of DCFS
calling
cases
as a host on the We
of
Got
children
Issues. I got
being in unsafe conditions, unfortunately.
Wow. Sabrina, I want to bring you into the conversation. What?
Right.
Sabrina, unmute on the computer. On the computer. Yeah.
Okay. So I was saying that when both of my parents passed away, they were in the hospital before they died, but it was always a family member with them 24/7. And we would always say, okay, who's there? Is there Tracy or Kim? We like you guys. Okay. Those are the good nurses, because we know there are some nurses, they could care. They act like they don't care. They act like we're bothering them. I mean, and so what can't you hear, Gloria? What can't you hear?
Turn it up.
Okay, you can't hear me? Can you hear me? No?
I can hear you.
Wow.
I think
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And it really touched me, Kim, when you said to get a thank you is extra. I'm not looking for it, but it's nice when I am appreciated. And so how can we better appreciate you? We have to educate our tribe that when we go into those hospitals, we want to know how we can best serve you, because you serve us so well.
You know, I think, Tracy and I both working in the emergency department. So that's even higher energy of everything. And, and let me also say, by the way, Happy Nurses Week to Zyra Maldonado, who's on our comment, as well as Hattie Tucker. Love working with those young ladies. They're awesome nurses to work with. You know what? We know that it definitely takes a certain level of patience. Let me start there. It definitely takes a certain level of patience on on our end, on the nursing end. And we know that we have patients as well as family members who come in and they're nervous. They're scared. They haven't been to the doctor. They've never been to the doctor. They've been sick for, how long have you been sick? Oh, a couple of days. Turns out to be a few months, maybe even a few years. And now they've gotten to the point where they just can't treat themselves at home. But we've learned we in my 25 years of nursing, just kind of learn to maneuver around that. You know, sometimes you have people, unfortunately, that come in and they are so frightened. Their defense mechanism is they're just ready to fight, especially in the emergency department.
Okay.
They're just ready to fight in the emergency department. But you're right. I mean, if I have I had a patient yesterday who was in tears, and I had to tell her in front of the doctor, honestly, I think I shocked the doctor. I was like, listen, did you come to the emergency department to get help? Yes, I did. And she's crying. She could barely pull herself together. I said, we're part of your team to help you feel better. So go on and let it out, but we're going to let us do the work that we need to do to get you feeling better. And before I left, she was laughing. And I just to give that level, because we're still in the middle of this pandemic. So if you come in as a patient, you can't bring a family member with you. You don't have your support.
Right.
So we have to step in and be that support system.
I want to share with you 7 ways that you can appreciate a nurse, and y'all can add to this list. Very simple things we always can do. Say thank you and mean it. You can write a sweet note, especially if you're leaving the hospital or short-term facility. It could be a grandiose gift, but a pure thank you can mean the world. Number 2, treat your nurse with respect. As simple as smiling, making eye contact can be so important. So many times nurses say that they are talked to with words that are demeaning. Number 3, get them coffee. Which nurse doesn't like coffee? If you really want to show love, consider giving the nurse a Keurig machine coffee. Okay, so high-end coffee. Number 4, send them some candy. Okay, if you or your loved one were just in the hospital or a rehab facility, you could consider a box of candy, a tray of pastries, or some home-baked cookies. Number 5, give her a pen. Nurses never have enough pens. They need them for filling out paperwork, jotting down notes. Give her some pens. We like blinged out pens, fancy pens. Get your nurse some pens. Number 6, treat her to some spa time. Okay, now it's getting good. Right. Everyone in them callers to get pitching in on some spa. Being a nurse involves lots of bending, stretching, and so you always can use a deep massage. And number 7, be active in your own recovery. There's nothing a nurse wants more than to see her patient recover. So be active in your own recovery. Did I hit the ball out of the park, or
yes,
what else
you
would
did.
you add?
Yes, you did. But I'll be honest,
you
you could have stopped that just to thank you for me. I appreciate that, because that's what we're here to do. I want you to walk away, you meaning the patient and the family member, to walk away and feel that you were treated fairly, because that's our goal. Our goal is to treat you fairly and to make you feel good going home, so that you're confident to continue your own care when you get home.
Excellent.
Caterina, I would like to ask Tracy or Kim, it doesn't matter who, a lot of people have been talking about doctors and psychiatrists. They've been talking about, because of COVID and because so many doctors and nurses have seen so much death, especially early on. I mean, just watching the news was depressing. And if we were being depressed by watching it, I can't even imagine what you guys were feeling like being in the thick of it when, every day, 500,000, so many people were losing their lives. And they were talking about the mental health of doctors and nurses that went through that. What kind of resources do you all have as nurses and doctors to be able, and we're still not 100% through it, but have you talked to nurses that were having a hard time dealing with everything that they saw? And what are some of the resources that you guys would recommend to nurses that might be having a hard time dealing with all the death that they saw?
Well, for me, I haven't really talked to anybody who I work with or any nurses that I know that have been experiencing anything from that. But for me, it's like this was tough. Like, this was something that I've never seen before or been through before. And the amount of people that were dying and the amount of people that could not be helped in the beginning of this, it was a struggle. But the only thing that really kept me going was that, I mean, it's like any other thing. You know, you take care of a patient, you put all your all into taking care of this patient to help them get back to a healthy state. And then at the end of the day, you go home, you decompress because you got to go back and do it again tomorrow. So you can't hold that. You can't carry that. It's like, okay, you absorb that. You might even go, like for me, sometimes I go through things in my head when I come home, like, okay, what could we have done different? Well, this, and this. But then at the end of the day, once I go through it, I think about it and it's like, hey, you got to get up tomorrow and do this same thing. So come on, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. Actually, I think now this is my time where, because it's not over yet, but it's way better than it's been. And, you know, for the sake of the vaccine coming out, and I think we're making more of a progress. So for now, I think now is for me, my time for me to actually, because I haven't really decompressed from all that. So I think now is my time. It's like, oh, man, we went through a lot. We did a lot. But I think also most institutions, they have support systems for people. Like for us at county, we have the EAP, which is the employee assistance, where, you know, you can go and you can talk to anybody that you need to talk to. And then they also they were offering like some of the counselors there that you can call and talk to them if you were having, you know, a rough time when we were actually going through the thick of COVID.
Wow.
And just like Zyra made the post on, we lean on each other also. We have a pretty good support system, especially in our emergency department at Cook County. We have a very good support system. So if we see that one of our coworkers needs to decompress, we give them that time to decompress. But we also have some outstanding success stories, which I would love for Tracy to share with you. And this is pre-vaccine success story. And it brought tears to my eyes. I wasn't working that day and I hate that I missed it. But Tracy, if you had time to tell about that one patient who you called his
so
wife.
We had a patient. Yeah, we had a patient that was in the emergency room. The patient had been in the emergency room for 2 days, came in for shortness of breath, ended up having to be intubated. And intubated means that we had to put him on a ventilator to breathe for him because he couldn't breathe for himself. So the patient was supposed to go to ICU, but because of COVID, ICU was full. We had so many intubated patients at that time. So he stayed in the emergency room for 2 days. And the ICU doctors came down, they looked at him, and then they were like, you know, try to extubate him, which means take the tube out and see, you know, how he'll do and breathe on his own. Well, of course, they drew some blood, they checked some levels, and they were like, yeah, okay, let's try to take this guy off the ventilator. So they took him off the ventilator, and he actually did well. Like, he was breathing on his own. He sat up, and I was just like, oh my God. I'm like, is there anybody you want me to call for you? Is there anything you want me to do? Because I was so excited. And he was like, call my wife. Tell her I'm okay. And I was like, okay. So I got my phone, and I called his wife. And I was like, hey, are you the wife of so-and-so and so? She was like, yes. I was like, your husband gave me your number. He told me to call you. He wanted me to let you know that he's okay. We took the tube out. He's talking to me. He told me how worried you are about him. And she just started crying. She was like, oh my God, thank you. Because, you know, at that time, because of COVID, she couldn't come in with him. Right. So she was at home waiting on us to call, waiting for somebody to call and, you know, give her an update on her husband. But when I tell you, I was glad that I was able to call, that he was like, call my wife. Yeah. I was like, okay. And then so other people from other shifts were coming in. And so they were walking past like, oh my God, you took the tube out. You can breathe. And he was like, man, I feel like a celebrity around here. Because everybody was coming like, oh, we so glad you're okay. Oh my God, we're so glad. It was like, it just like kind of uplifted us during that time. because
Yeah.
we were like, oh,
That never happens in
my
the ER.
God.
Yeah. That never happens in
That
the
was
ER,
a blessing.
where you're there long enough. You're
That's
so sick where we have to put you on a breathing machine, and then you stay there long enough to come off the breathing machine and do very well. So, and then even I've had cases where a patient has come in, and this young lady was so sick. She had been suffering silently at home for maybe a whole week, and she came in so with difficulty breathing, her lips were blue, and just to see the fear in her eyes. And when she came around the corner, we all went running, and you could tell initially she was startled, but then as we talked to her and got her relaxed so we can get her breathing very well and get her on the whatever apparatus that we needed to get her on to get her breathing, you could see the sigh of relief come over her face. And again, this is a time where no family members were allowed in. Not even when a patient was actually dying. They weren't letting any weren't letting any family members in. So throughout the year, it came to a point where if they saw that you were at imminent death, then they will call the family and tell the family to come on in. But this is in the beginning when none of that was happening. So we've made great progress.
Wow. What stories. We are the force of friendship, and we talk about the power of friendship. And that's what we do is we celebrate, we encourage, we uplift, we help and support. And so what a great story. We're going to go to Vicky on the line. Vicky, are you there? We got issues. We have like 1 minute. So Vicky, are you there?
Are you there? Or Andrea, Vicky or Andrea, either of you hang with us? All right. Well,
million job openings for nurses are coming, and there's a huge shortfall of roughly 200,000 nurse professionals just from last year's statistic. And so I hope seeing these two dynamic women today, two amazing nurses, that it's even inspired nurses that are out there to feel appreciated. Those of you thinking about the profession, to consider the profession. We can't thank you enough. We appreciate you. We appreciate all our callers. Tag a nurse, tag a nurse, tag a nurse today. All right. Thanks for calling. We got issues. Go to theforceoffriendship.com, and we will see you tomorrow.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hang tight right there. Don't hang up.
Thank you so much. We enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
You are
Thank
awesome.
you. Hold on.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was so good. They loved it. You guys were wonderful. Rich with stories. Rich with stories and the reality of nursing. My goodness, there's so much to learn. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Oh, it's up.
The chat was off the hook. Thank you. You guys were just amazing guests.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I was nervous.
No, you couldn't tell. You could not tell.
Are you kidding?
There you go. You're still in the emergency room. You were nervous.
I'm like nervous to talk. Okay. You let somebody come show me some blood. I'm gonna be like,
Right.
You know what? That's the strangest thing. That's the strangest thing. You give us somebody come in with a heart attack, and we're like,
Right.
it's like nothing. Our hands don't shake at all.
No,
But, you know,
about it. You just jump in and get
there are so many different aspects to nursing. You give us a critical patient that's dying, we jump right in.
Wow.
But have somebody come in about to deliver a baby, we run the other way. It's like, we're like, no, get her upstairs.
She all right.
You be all right. Just don't breathe. What number is it? No. Don't breathe. Don't push.
You gotta kick your legs like this. Don't
Right. Cross your legs. Run upstairs.
oh my God.
That is hilarious.
Thank you. And you guys both are mothers. right?
Yes,
So,
yes.
Oh, happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to you.
So thank you. We're gonna
Thank
say
you.
bye to our Facebook audience. We appreciate
so
you,
much.
and thank you,
Okay.
Tracy.
Thank
you,
you.
Kim.
See you
Thank
guys
you.
tomorrow on Facebook.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
guys. Bye-bye.